Yo, people. Quick question here. Do you ever feel that no matter what you do to prove that your ex is alienating your child or your children from you, that no one listens or believes you, that everyone is against you, that you are guilty before proven innocent? Well, I'm going to tell you in this show, you might not like what I say, but part of it is your fault. Okay. And as tough as it is to swallow, I had to swallow that pill myself. And I'll tell you why. By the end of the show, you'll know why I say that it's partially your fault. Okay. So today we're going to talk about how to outsmart your alienating ex and actually win the game. Right. Um, we've all been stuck in this situation before. Right, as an alienating father and you have a daughter, you're almost certain to be accused of molesting your daughter. All right, yeah, we talk straight because that's what we're being accused of. Right, so if you want to know how to outsmart your alienating ex, stay on, and yeah, we'll be checking in a moment. Just need to play that intro right quick. Welcome to the Pain SA podcast, where we discuss the devastating and long-lasting effects resulting from parental alienation. I'm your host, Dominic Charles, and I have been alienated from my daughter on and off for almost 12 years, and I've had no access or contact with my daughter since August 2021. The aim of this show is to create awareness, influence change in the legal system, and reunite fathers with their children. Please note that the users of all parental alienation intervention network South Africa, hereby known as Pain SA, and all its subsequent media platforms, affiliated groups, projects, companies, take no responsibility or risk for the use of Pain SA and related media entities such as Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all subsequent similar related media platforms used by Pain SA. We accept no responsibility or liability for any views or related topics, verbally, written, or otherwise, by users on Pain SA's media and or other platforms or entities as mentioned herein. We accept no responsibility, liability for any views expressed or actions taken by users of the Pain SA group, its affiliates, or platforms of expression. We accept no responsibility or liability to any person as a consequence of any reliance upon the information given on the site. Under no circumstances, including negligence, shall anyone involved in creating or maintaining Pain SA working content and maintenance therefore be liable for any direct or indirect damages from testimonials given by independent guest speakers invited to relay their personal testimonies, beliefs, or opinions on Pain SA's live show or posts. Hey Steve, welcome. Thanks for joining. We're not going to wait for anyone else to come on the show. You guys can watch the replay. Let's get straight into it. So, how to outsmart your alienating ex and win? Well, I had to learn from trial and error, from my own mistakes. So, hopefully, what I share with you guys today helps you avoid these mistakes, right? Here's the first problem. Our first reaction to the lies and the false accusations is to defend. Right, we get served a protection order and you get all nervous about it and you're like, oh my god, I'm going to court. If it's your first time, yeah, it is quite nerve-wracking, but usually when you read through what's in that protection order, let's just use that as an example. It's a whole bunch of lies, and the only one that knows the truth, well, is you, your ex, and God. But jumping into defense mode is actually what they want you to do. They want you to be all nervous, because remember the lies that they've probably told the officer, and the clerk and the judge, if they've had a chance. Then yeah, they probably told him that you are unstable, that you can't control your emotions, that you're abusive. And guess what? When you jump into defense mode, that's often what could come across. Right? Now, the problem is that you kind of accepting the guilt without you knowing it. You're making yourself look guilty. Think about it. What does a guilty person do? They deny, they blame, they accuse others, they don't take responsibility. And I'm not saying take responsibility um, for false accusations. What I'm saying is that you need to handle it with a level head. Okay, and I'm going to tell you exactly how. I've made the mistake in the past where I'd be served with something, and you ask too many questions, you start fighting with the police officer. In fact, the last protection order that has been served with me, the police officer was pleasantly surprised that I didn't put up any fight. I accepted it nicely, asked him how he's doing, I signed the documents, and he was confused. He's like, no, generally when I deliver this to people, they fight and they swear at us, like you couldn't put his finger to it. And I'm like, nah, I expected this. So that's one tip there. All right, don't resist. If you are falsely accused, you have the right to ask what you've been arrested for. But if they are abrupt with you, because remember, they abrupt with you because of the lies. When I was arrested once, my ex had blue marks all over her leg. But 5 days prior to that, I logged the case against her. Right? I went immediately when she assaulted me to the police station. I asked them, what can I do to stop this woman from doing this? We can't carry on like this all the time. They said, yeah, you must open up a case, but we're not going to arrest her. And I'm like, no, I don't want her arrested. I want her to at least have some sort of warning. Yeah, just open up the case. Anyways, open up the case. They arrested her, and upon her arrest, she's got blue marks. So she pulled that move of a thin line between love and hate against me. I don't know if you watched that movie. I'll bring it up in the next episode. I actually didn't prepare that one. But I've heard of women throwing themselves downstairs and breaking their arms and slitting their wrists and blaming the man in the situation. So these are tips and tricks, people, and the police are aware of it, but understand that the manipulation is so good that they don't know who to believe. And here you come and you're trying to force belief on them. They've only heard one side of the story and they're arresting you on that. But now, if you're going to shout and scream at them, they probably won't listen to you as well. Make sense? Let me know in the chat if you agree there. Type agree in the chat if you do. Or if you disagree, let me know. Right, by the end of the show, I'm going to open up for some questions as well. And again, I'm just sharing my experience. I'm no legal professional, but I have dealt with these things on and off for a while for other people as well. And I see how behavior influences everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Right? It could determine the outcome of your case, respectfully dealing with something. And I wish I had taken this advice a while ago, but I didn't. Sorry, I just got some pinging coming through there. I'm trying to put my finger on what that is. In any case, guys, let me know in the chat so far if you what's your thoughts on this so far? All right. I don't want everyone to be all silent. I need people to join in and tell me what's your experience. Just type in the chat if you've had an experience, or if you'd like to come online. I'll actually drop a link in the chat, and you can just join us online. Yeah, let me do that right now. Okay, so yeah, you can join the call and just share your quick experience with planning and plotting and strategizing. Okay, and I'm just giving a few tips today on what helped me. Where is this comments here? Okay, in the comments, guys, I've just dropped the link there. That StreamYard link. If you want to join, please click on the link and you can come on board. I've got my cousin from Canada just lined up there. I'm gonna bring him. I'm gonna bring him on in a moment. Devon. That's my twin. My sister's son, who's older than me. Long story. But I'm gonna bring him on in a moment now. Right. So I just wanna show you guys how ridiculous this is. So the first thing we do is this: when we are faced with all these allegations and the fighting from our ex, it's the first thing we do, right? We wage war. And it doesn't even matter if we don't have an army. We just go into battle mode. We're ready for anything. But does that make any sense? I mean, if you're fighting a losing battle, the odds are against you already. This probably isn't the right approach. You obviously need a plan. All right. And we end up looking like this without a plan. Okay. So I'm asking you guys, I'm pleading with you, just open up your mind to new strategies. Yes, we know that men are being treated biased, but that's a society problem as well, right? Men are expected. I spoke about it yesterday. We expected to be strong. We expected not to cry. We expected not to show emotion. Keep it together. Provide all of those things. When a woman goes in there and cries, it's a whole different reception. All right, that's what makes it believable. So I'm gonna get into that in a moment, but I'm gonna bring my cousin on here. Dev, are you ready to come on, man?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Welcome to my cousin from Canada. Devon has a very unique story himself, but you've also had some trouble with the law that side, right? Regarding your kids and all of that.
Absolutely, definitely went through the experience, the Canadian experience, in terms of gaining rights to my child and being wrongfully um, taken. You know, the system is set up for the woman down here for obvious reasons, because the mother is the mother, and they generally have more rights than fathers. But in my situation, the mother was addicted to drugs and just misusing the children as a form of income, and just making life for me absolutely hell. I spent a good majority of 2 years just paying and paying and paying and paying, almost losing everything. I mean, everything that allows me to work in the first place. So, I mean, I believe in the universe and the power that it does when you understand it a little better. So, in my situation, it worked out, but it's not like that for everybody. You know, I feel I'm very fortunate, like a 1% kind of situation, and I don't take it for granted. You know,
But why do you think you are part of that 1%? Why do you think that you were successful?
I gave everything I had. All I thought about was my children. You know, and it's a lot of factors that made it happen. It wasn't that she was on drugs and it fell into my favor. It's that because of all the adversity I had to face, I had to move my parents into the house as not to lose it, and that gave me grounds to have a more stable platform, a more stable environment for my daughters to be coming to be living with me in the first place. So there was this family aspect to it, and when you do the comparisons, the child absolutely needs a stable environment to be raised in, and it worked out. It just really did. If I didn't have that in place, it was just being by myself in my own place, I don't think the courts would have seen it that way. That, and the mother was just unstable. At the end of the day, she wants her children, but she can't take care of them. She's not right mentally. She still has a lot to learn. She came from a very tough background.
Yeah.
And that is just now a generational curse that would be handed down over and over to my children and so forth. So what we're trying to do is break those generational curses and try to raise children that are more confident, more positive, and have, a better chance in life with the right upbringings, as opposed to, being taught the opposite, I would say.
Yeah, being taught to that fathers are not needed in their lives and you should disrespect them at every turn. Steve just says, well, he's enjoying the platform here, and he's been trying to do the similar in Australia. Steve also is going to be sharing his story soon with us. And Trevor, I see you there. Don't worry, I'm going to bring you on in a moment. All right, don't go away. I see Trevor's joined us. He has a few words to share with us. I just want to go to Steve's comment here quickly. He says, one, antagonism characterized by a manipulativeness, frequent. Did I say that right? Wow, that was a tongue twister there. Frequent use of subterfuge to influence or control others. Use of seduction, charm, glibness, or okay, Steve, you're gonna have to come online and explain all of this here. Big words. We try to break down everything here, but in short, what Steve is saying is that these are the traits that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Steve. These are the traits that alienating parents actually use, and more and more we're seeing that they've got narcissistic traits. They've got mental disorders, as you've mentioned as well, Devin. The mental health issues is the core of this, we believe, but there's so many aspects to deal with here that we can only just deal with it with a strategy, with planning, with knowing how to respond. Because once you understand how these people manipulate and use fear, fear being these false accusations and protection orders and all of that, it puts you in a state where you already, when trying to defend yourself, it kind of makes you look crazy. And that's what they've already told people: you are crazy, you are unstable, you can't handle yourself. Trevor, let me just bring on Trevor here. Welcome, Trevor. How are you doing, man?
Oh, good. Thanks. First time I've heard your podcast. Thank you very much. Good work.
Awesome. Thanks, man. We haven't been on for long. It's, I think, the third week now, and yeah, it's a topic that affects millions. Trevor, tell me where you're dialing in from.
Oh, I'm from Canada, and I'm pretty
From
involved
Canada
in
as well.
the system, saying pretty much the same things as you are, I'm sure. I've got a website called fundamentaljustice.com here in Canada.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, well, the topic is on how to outsmart your alienating ex. So what do you have to say on that there?
Oh, I don't have too much experience with that, but just I guess honesty and standing up for yourself is the critical parts.
Okay, and how do you suggest you stand up for yourself? Because a lot of fathers actually just lose in court, and then they end up just giving up.
Sure, yeah, I appreciate that. I've been through that system a couple of times, and certainly the court is not the avenue for that. Ultimately, I'm trying to bring about a more peaceful resolution. I think we need to look at alternative dispute resolution systems rather than the court system, which is based on profit for lawyers rather than positive outcomes for the families. It's a failure in leadership in the governments in all of our countries.
Yeah, it seems to be the common thing here. Money comes first. But do you think there's a way we can fight this outside of the system?
Yeah, that's sort of I'm playing around with those ideas, and that's what I'm here to listen a little bit to get some understanding of where other people are coming from. But yeah, I think ultimately we have to move away from the antiquated court system and move to a solution that's based on love and caring about people and about our children. I hear Dev saying very similar things. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's what families are all about, is love. We need to bring more about that. And ultimately, the courts aren't the right system to do that because they're based on profit for lawyers. So I'm looking at alternative dispute resolution systems at this time.
Right. Awesome. So I have this theory, and what if I told you guys that to win this whole thing, you actually need to just become a better salesman? That's just my theory. Okay, and I'll tell you why. One thing, a great salesman knows how to handle rejection, objections, and closing. Rejection, for when you present something to someone, they don't believe you, they tell you no, I don't want to buy. Fathers go through rejection all the time from their alienated children. Would you agree with me on that?
Oh, I think you're on the right path for sure. I've been studying a bit more on the sort of the Buddhist philosophy and trying to think about things in that realm. But I've also been a salesman, and I understand the argument that you're pushing forward.
There we go.
There.
So, Devin, what do you think about that?
Sorry, repeat the question.
I know it's a unique. What do you think about my theory of just becoming a better salesman instead of trying to become a lawyer?
Yeah, being able to handle, like you said, rejection, and also being able to create a topic, create an objective, and finding ways of achieving it through speech, through language, and trying to get that person to understand and as to buy it, get them to buy your story, get them to buy your ideas, and get them to understand and explain how that would benefit the children more likely, or overall. It's all about the children, right? It's coming together, and that's what I've done before, fighting, tried to explain during, and absolutely when I got my children, it's again maintaining that understanding of it. This is all for the children. There's nothing to do with us, which is not easy, right? It takes years. It took me, and now that she's without children, that's when she wants to understand things, and it's unfortunate because it could have been maintained throughout all, and the children should not have had to have gone through that. But they did. So now
you're on the. That's great comments, Dev. I think removing the money from the system is critical. At present, you get paid more from the father if you have the child more, so it creates an incentive to remove the child from the father to profit, and then lawyers profit from the conflict, so they have an incentive to make conflict, and they know your entire finances because you have to provide it all, so they can bleed you dry.
Yeah,
it's more like a hostage situation, isn't it?
And that's
pretty much. I've labeled it as extortion here in Canada for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't afford
that's
a
what
lawyer.
extortion is.
I literally could not afford one. I had to kind of self-represent if I could, and I was told you need to find representation. I told them, ma'am, with child support that I'm paying and cost of living, how you explain to me how I afford a lawyer, so I had to ride that whole court scene out just based on being there. proving that that allegations aren't true, whatnot. I don't know. It was quite a period of time to go through. It's not easy, you know, and more so the children, you know, having to not have either parent in the picture, and who knows what's being said about the father who really wants to be a part of that child's life, really wants and gives everything. You know, we're all fathers. I know we all feel the same way about our children, and it's just
Yeah,
our
we
system.
already know that we already know the lies that the kids are being told, because here's the thing, they don't even change the lies. It's exactly the same thing. Like, for instance, if you have a daughter, here in South Africa, I don't know about you guys there, but if you have a daughter and your ex is trying to alienate that child, 10 to 1 you will be accused of sexual molestation. It's a common
That easy
card that they just throw.
Yeah, and
It
the
is
court
that
doesn't take
easy
that
for them
lightly.
to.
If that's the allegation, the court does not take that lightly, right? So it's
Well,
them to be able to
here
throw
in
things
South
around like that
Africa,
without
now
justification.
that's the point I'm getting to here, and that's about becoming a better salesman. So instead of, here's what I would do, or this is actually what I did. Instead of going fighting and all of that, I just asked, okay, why am I not arrested yet?
Yeah.
Like, no, there's not a case against you. I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? I was just told, no, go back to the children's court. So yeah, no one knows the
Good
the
one. Well done.
yeah. So you go and you give yourself, look, I've been accused, so yeah. Well, why am I why? And that's the approach you should take in court as well. Is not try and defend yourself. It's like, prove it. So you say I'm abusive and all of that, prove it. Over here, you need to sign a J88 form, which means you go to the doctor checks you out. Yes, you've got these lacerations and marks on you, whatever the case may be, your arm's broken, and that goes into the police file. So there, an assault charge is open. If that hasn't been done, you haven't been able to prove it. So that's just my stance on everything. You accuse me of something, I'm like, okay, prove it. And it's as simple as that for me. I don't know. What do you guys think of that? I'm going to bring Steve on quickly. Welcome, Steve.
Hey guys, how are we?
Welcome to the show, man. Where you calling in from?
Gold Coast, Australia. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You loud and clear. Can you hear us?
Cool. That's good platform you got going here, Dominic.
Say again?
It's a good platform you got going.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. Well, I'll share it with you after the show, after we're done. Just don't tune out, and I'll share everything with you. Yeah, we've got Devin over here and Trevor. What did you want to add to this, Steve? How would you deal with the false allegations and stuff that we've thrown at? Well, that's thrown at us. Yeah.
Like I've been saying, it's comes down to education. It's nothing new. It's been going on for millennia. I just dropped this links in here for you. But yeah, it's just history repeating and repeating. But now we've got this social media thing going. We can actually educate people a lot more, and they can start to study, especially behavioral science and psychology, and they can start seeing what's actually happening. Because there's a lot of confusion out there at the moment. People just don't understand what's going on.
That's right.
It comes down to representation in government. Our state and federal members, the MPs in government, they're in government for themselves. They're not actually in government for the general population. So our courts are failing because of our government's failing. That comes back to our state and federal members in Parliament, representatives. Here, we're actually forced to pay tax, personal tax, and have been since World War One. But it's a complete breakdown of government.
Right.
And that's what finding so many guys are suiciding. They losing their houses, losing their kids, losing everything.
So what do you think about my theory of in order to win this, you need to become a better salesman, learn how to handle rejection, objections, and how to close deals?
Sure. Yep. Yeah, I can see that. That's a really, really valid point.
I'm not asking anyone to agree with me. It's just a way out of the system for me.
Yeah,
What did you want to
I
say
agree.
there, Trevor?
Oh, Steve, nice meeting you again. Thank you very much for your comments I've heard. Yeah, I mean, I think we're facing a worldwide problem that needs addressing. And Steve's hit it, and that's kind of what I'm addressing with my website in Canada as well, is that the government complicit with the legal system, and they're profiting and abusing the people that they're supposed to be protecting. And in Canada here, I've got the Minister of Justice actually obstructing justice and failing to respond to the Constitution and to protect the legal system abusing Canadians. And so it's kind of a problem that we need to change through the whole system in order to get equality for men and women. And we need to have a structural change. But that's a big issue that Steve and I think are talking about. But I think what we want to try and do is try to get communication back between men and women, get rid of the divide, realize that we're all here to help our children. That is what every parent is here for, is to help their child. And some need more help than others, but unfortunately the ones that need help are getting punished.
Yep. That's definitely the case, and it's strange that it's happening all over the world. Funny enough, I think Mexico and Brazil, third world countries, have made parental alienation. Well, it's in their law, and violation of that has its penalties already. But I don't know if that has something to do with the economy or belief systems. I don't know how that works. You guys know anything about that?
You're right. It's global. Even Israel has the same problems. They got just as severe problems as us, as USA and everywhere, Britain, UK. So it is everywhere. It's global, and it is very much a psychological, social studies thing.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of personality disorder in there. Antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder. What's interesting is the fathers that are actually going through the courts and going through all this, they have secure attachments with their kids. That means that they have a conscience. That's frontal cortex. That's genetics. And yeah, they're usually the best people that are actually getting smashed by the courts.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, sorry, one sec. I'm reading a book right now called Willful Blindness. And you'll find it very, very interesting. It's about sort of groupthink mentality. It's sort of the cause of the mortgage crisis in the US, where everyone knew what was going on. But because everyone knew what was going on, they thought that someone else should step in and do something about it. But the more people that know about it think that someone else should deal with it. And so then the more people involved create more problems instead of solving the problems. Yeah. But it's a really good book. It's very well worth understanding.
Yeah. Sounds
so
like,
Dave, sorry, just a question to Dave there quickly. Steve, you've won your kids through the system, right? And I mean, you know my story. You've helped me countless times as well. But I know the one point we get to is that things are definitely not the same in South Africa regarding children as what they are in Canada. Like, the law doesn't seem to protect children. Yeah. Devin knows what I'm talking about. How easy or difficult was it for you to actually win your children that side? What did you have to do to actually prove your case and why your children should be with you instead of your ex?
It was just her stability at the end of the day. Her addictions is what really made it clear to the court where the children needs to lie. If it wasn't for family backing and support systems, which she didn't had, I mean, that's ultimately why these decisions were made by the courts, that it's in the best interest of the child to obviously be with a stable family as opposed to not, really. So that's really what swung the deal, right? What made it clear. And it was it was, the focus was set on her. She needed to get better. She needed to improve her ways. We all have some form of trauma, but we can't carry that into parenting. No, it's
And
not.
did they do psychological assessments? There was it court ordered that had to be done, or what?
Well, she had a history. She had a troubled history in and out of. Well, it's here they call it children's aid. She was a warden, a child warden, a child of the state. It's not a state, child of the provinces. The province has these systems set up for people who can't be taken care of, and that was a history. So I mean, these things add up when you're fighting in court. You know, they look at all of your history. Do you have any addictions? Do you have any charges? Anything to build or to show what your past was and how that could be part of your future too, right? And I mean, I had a child. I was a single father to a child since I was 20. I was very well aware of how much energy it takes to be a part of your child's life when they don't live with you. So this is an experience I led into this, and when it was clear to me that she would be taking the kids away, made it a point to do the same thing, just to continue to support these girls as best as possible. Calling them every day, video messaging, even if I wasn't speaking to them directly, I would make the videos for them, send it to them, make sure that they see my face all the time. They ask questions. You know, there was something positive always coming out from Dad's side. My girls spent.
So you actually acted early in the alienation, and that's why from what I'm hearing, it wasn't successful.
It's tough for the father. It's absolutely almost impossible. You know, a lot of changes do need to be made to the system. It needs to be like modernized. The situation. I think these laws are very old. They're outdated, and it's a modern society with modern problems. You know, that they need to focus on these things. I don't know if you can't have full custody of a child unless you will always have, if you're still alive and well, you will always have rights to your child. But it also comes down to where they live. I mean, there's a lot of factors as to how much time, how can you see them, how much time is allocated, and so forth. But no, in my case, it was her troubles of the past, her addictions that really made it fall into my lap.
Favor.
You know, I think we would have still been fighting if like I said, I was going to lose cars, apartments, everything if I didn't figure something out. And that led me to speak to my parents to say, hey, you know, at the end of the day, it's best that we do.
Steve, what are you struggling with now? So, sorry to break over there. Steve just wanted to make a point earlier there. What are your thoughts on this, or what are you struggling with right now to actually again outsmart your alienating ex, because it seems like they are smarter than us most of the time? So what can you comment on that?
I started in 2010 federal court, family court. Straight out, it was false allegations of extreme domestic violence by the government consultant. There was never any police records or any allegations, not even anything in the affidavit from my ex about any domestic violence.
So no proof whatsoever.
Well, there was no. Even my ex, after 4 years in court, admitted to a psychologist on the record on tape there was never any DV. So we've got the problem here in Australia is our government is just completely gone psycho, and is just they're off the rails. It's the government's running all these programs and stuff. So it's not even the ex trying to alienate the kids. It's the government's doing all the damage.
Yeah, it's I mean, I mean, family law is an incredibly complicated, trying to resolve a dispute between it's incredibly, and so, governments take the easy way out and the courts take the easy way out is you find a victim and you label them, and it's easiest to say it's a man. So everyone kind of goes along with that. And then they pretend that everything's good and happy and that they've made the right decision. But it is incredibly complicated. And I think what we need to do is more start thinking about, instead of going into court, and great that Dev got custody of his child there. But we need to help both parents, no matter what the situation is, because both parents are going to suffer if they are missing their children. And we need, instead of resources going to, say, just the females, then we need to have resources going to the men as well, in order to support them being fathers as well, and mothers. We need support for families, not just women. If we want to have families as being an important building block of society, we need to support both parties.
Absolutely. It doesn't help with one being broken and the other being, it's not supposed to be like that, where the children get to choose who they live with. It should be equal. And children should actually, I've watched the documentary, I don't know if you guys have, Erasing Family. It's on YouTube. I'm always talking about that, and it opened up a lot for me after watching that, about the possibilities. Sweden, if you get divorced there, you literally sit around the table at home and fill in a few papers. If it can't be done that way, then it goes to court. But the first step is mediation, and that's court provided mediation, absolutely free. Only in extreme circumstances does it get to, where lawyers need to be involved and all of that. So I think it's a matter of just adopting what's already been figured out in other countries. Why can't we just copy and paste?
We can. We definitely can. And great to bring up Erasing Families, because that's a great program. And, we have to research all around the world. And thanks for putting your perspective in here in the international sort of realm there. Here in Canada, they kind of encourage mediation as well, but it's more profitable for the lawyers to bystep the mediation and move forward. And so it's sort of a not really valid form of, instead of Sweden seems like it's really encouraged. Here it's like, well, you only get the right way to go is to go to court, is sort of the mentality. You only get the right decision when you go to court, which is completely false.
Yeah, it should be, in my opinion, it should be a standard. It should be forced on a couple. Like, you don't have a choice. It's law. You have to go through mediation. And if you can't make a decision between the two of you, then we will make the decision for you, again, in the best interest of the child. But that term is thrown around very loosely here in South Africa. So Lord knows what that means anymore. Because it's in the best interest of the child for the father to go to jail under false allegations, it seems. It happens all the time, yeah.
I gave my children through mediation, actually. It was her decision to respectably have them living here while she focused on her own issues and so forth. So mediation did work out for us, and it kept us out of that court system. It's draining. It drags on forever. These court dates are set 6 months in advance at times, and you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, and the children are suffering through it, because what happens, right? You lose all this time, and there's nothing written in law to say that you can have your children or not have the children. So I was fortunate enough where she understood how important it was to get over with the court system and allow us to handle our own business. And I wish that would be, as a law, like you said, Dom, I wish that was something that they forced upon you to say, hey, if only if it's extreme and one parent just will not
Well, if
understand or
one
be able
parent,
to.
if one parent doesn't cooperate, it speaks to their character.
Of course.
Usually a narcissist will be uncooperative, and the next step then should be go to a therapist, sort out your shit, and let the child live with the
Yeah,
father while
psychiatric
you,
evaluation. Yeah.
or with a better parent, not just with the father, but I mean it's fathers mainly that go through this. This is a father issue around the world. um I just want to get back quickly to why I said, and I wanna ponder on this theory. Well, I know that Trevor has done sales, but this is what I do. I sell. So, and if I can't sell this to you guys, then maybe I have to go back to training. So, but if you learn how to handle rejection, we mentioned. I mean, we all go through rejection. That's the alienating, or sorry, the alienated parent's life. You live a life of rejection. Your children want nothing to do with you, and some people start, some men actually start believing the lies. And it's, please remember that these are all lies. It's manipulation tactics that's been instilled in these children. They kind of like abuse victims, where they are so afraid of standing up against the abuser that they will rather reject you. There's tons of I mean, I watch crime documentaries on Netflix, and if you look at any crime documentary where a child is abducted or a woman is coerced, the latest one that I watched now was, I'll tell you now, the Puppet Master. It's this renowned con man, and he managed to get people to do some crazy shit. I'm not going to spoil that. Watch it yourself. But I'm just saying that I'm following these patterns with psychopaths and sociopaths, and that's what they do. But now, the same thing that they do, they're very good in sales. That's one thing that I've
Yeah, that comes
noticed.
down to genetics. They don't have a conscience in the frontal cortex.
Right. But now, if you came with the same tactic, only you speaking the truth, and I'm not just speaking on this. It's not just an idea. I done this 10 years ago, and I went willingly, and I welcomed the protection order. But the fundamental error that my ex made was that she came in with one piece of paper proving that I verbally abused her, and I came with a stack of 20. The one question I asked was, I kept them there for 3 hours. They ended up throwing in the towel and said, "We didn't expect all of this." And then the judge told them, "Well, you should have expected all of this. What do you think this courtroom is all about?" But it goes back to what Steve said as well. It's about educating yourself. The first thing I done was I started learning about how to defend myself on a protection order. And the common response from men when they get that is fear. You get this shock inside, and you're like, "Oh my god!" And that fear could turn into rage, and you know what kind of decisions you make when you're enraged. So if you learn to change belief through a story, but the story needs to be told in, I mean, think of your favorite movie, guys. Everyone has a favorite movie, yeah, right? There's something that attracts you to the character of that movie, the main character of that movie. It's their personality. They make you feel a certain way. So I'm not going to go too deep into this. I just wanted to plant a seed. I'm actually going to be working on a program that teaches this method after I've tried and tested it with enough people as a beta test. So if you guys are willing to try it, then I'll share all that with you on the back end, if you're still fighting these types of battles. um so here's another thing that the great salesman does. They follow up. There's a rule that says that the sale is made in the follow up, or something to that effect. But I know that I used to teach car salesmen, and if you do not follow up at least 15 times before closing that and saying that it's the deal lost, then you haven't done your job. So it's the same kind of thing that has to, it's persistence. And this isn't something I came up with. It's actually something that it jogged my memory from another show that I did the other day with a family lawyer. And he said that fathers give up too soon. And the more speaking to him, I realized that, hey, this is just all about sales. It's convincing the other party or the parties involved that you are, well, that you are the sane one in this whole situation. What do you guys have to say about that? Did I make sense there? I'm a bit hungry, so I may not have. Let me know.
Yeah, what is interesting?
I get what you're saying. The only problem with sales is that it's about sort of gaining something potentially at someone else's loss. And like Steve's saying here, it's about, of course, the lawyers are going to want you to keep on fighting, and because it's profitable for them. So I'm not sure. I get what you're talking about the sales and about follow-up and it's about dedication. But, I think we're talking, and somehow we got to get to a point where even if you're not good at sales, you should still have a right to be a father, right? But we need to kind of get into education and empowerment of communication and helping others. Instead of going, okay, well, this person's a bad father. It's like, well, why are you saying that? And then if you're saying that, then why don't we help this person? Instead of why are we punishing them and removing the child? Why aren't we helping people instead of punishing people? And that's a problem in the justice system, is that it's based on punishment rather than helping people.
Yeah, what we're finding in government is a lot of psychopathy and narcissism, and it comes down to why do people follow people like Stalin, Hitler, and things like that? There's simply strong leaders, and so the population ignores facts behind these psychopaths, really. So it's like Ted Bundy. He was manipulating people and then getting control over them, and it's all about control for the psychopaths and narcissists. And once they've got control, they don't know what to do, so they usually end up doing harm and damage.
Yeah, and that's sort of the problem that I sort of see in the salesman model, is that it's all about whoever can manipulate or push hard enough or whatever. And where do you draw the line?
It's more like who can get the lawyers, the judge, the court, the social workers to believe them.
Yeah, exactly. And that is not necessarily a good thing. That's not necessarily justice. That's just salesmanship. And so are we trying to sell ourselves?
It's what gets results right away. That's what people want right now.
Sure. Yeah. No, I hear you for sure. Yeah, that's the way the system is designed.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is just my take on it. While the justice system is sorting itself out, I'm not prepared to wait another 10, 20 years. Sure. I'm willing to do what works now. And that's why I say it comes down to who sells the story better. If you are accusing me of Dave, what do you have to say on this? What's your take on it?
Still, the salesman thing is still just manipulation. But what it really comes down to, what's important, is who does have a secure attachment with their kids, who is a good parent, who does have conscience, who is loving and caring.
Look, we know what should be done, but it's not being done. So if we keep just saying this is what should be done, they know exactly what it should be, but things are so messed up that there's no solution right now.
Right. So we're talking about how to empower men to do the best job they can do
so that they get results right now, so that they don't have to wait 5 years to see those kids.
Yeah, totally.
So what do you say about that? Is there a better solution? Because this is the best I've come up with so far.
Definitely.
Say
Yeah,
again?
no, I mean that's the reality is that you have to in this system you have to go to court and present your case and trust that the system will listen to you and that your sales will result in the sale.
So I got Steve and Trevor agreeing. Is that right?
Yeah, we've got a
For
bit of a
sure.
lag here, so yeah.
Okay. Dev, do you agree or disagree?
I agree. It's also, yeah, I absolutely agree with you guys. It's also knowing your rights. Like I said, I couldn't afford lawyers throughout this whole process. And it was really learning from every court date and proceeding what my rights were. If I would have known that in advance, I would have had a better start to it. I would have had, it would have, it would have sped things up for me. It would have got me results faster. And it is definitely educating yourself. And I've also helped other friends, family with similar situations, right? They're fighting for kids, and it's just like lending that experience to them so they have an understanding, because nobody goes into it knowing what they're going to be doing, and it's just you do rely on the lawyer because this is what they do. This is their field of expertise. So yeah, knowing, educating yourself on the process, being aware of what your rights are, what protects you as a parent. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I fully, yeah, you're on the right path there, and education is key.
Yeah.
And then I think the next step is part of that education is realizing that the court system is not going to give the best result to the child, and the court system acknowledges that as well. Is they know that the best result is going to come from the parents themselves sitting down and communicating directly and coming up with plans themselves that suit their own individual circumstance, free of any coercion, free of any financial gain or anything like that. If they can come up with solutions that fit their life, that is going to be the best solution. So we need to kind of empower parents to communicate directly instead of going, oh, you have to go to court. You need to go to court to solve that problem. It's
Yeah,
like
the
we
courts
need
are a
to
big
Yeah.
empower
problem.
parents.
No,
Government's a
I
big
always
problem.
advocate, like, if possible, avoid the court at all cost. If you can sort it out between two families, it's not just two parents here, it's two families. I mean, my daughter has completely cut off her grandmother, who she loved, a niece who she spent more time with my niece than what she would with me when she came to visit. She wants to know if Sadie's there because it's like a big sister. But how do you explain that being cut off? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
yeah, there's so much around this, but the simplest, we have to find the simplest ways. And changing legislation, I believe, is a long shot. uh, well, in order to do that, we need a massive movement first. We need a lot of people coming together all around the country, all around the world. And only then do they, I mean, it's evident, like with Black Lives Matter. I don't even know how much that has changed in the world, but we would never have known about George Floyd if it wasn't for um, social media and
I
someone
think,
actually recording that.
have you read Greg Ellis's book, The
I
Family
haven't.
Law Cartel? It's in the States. That's having a pretty big impact here. And the
Really?
whole Amber Heard business there is getting a lot of media attention. And I think those things are very telling with what's happening in our society right now. And it's starting to ripple around the world.
So I'm sorry that I had to use you guys as guinea pigs, but I actually do still have my sales skills in place, because all three of you tended to agree with me that this could be the way, not is the way, but could be the way to work outside of the system. It's about telling a good story and not lying. It's about presenting your story well so that people can believe it. And
Totally.
that's exactly what the Alienating Ex has done.
That's what life is all about, isn't it? It is about sales and about presenting yourself and selling an idea or whatever it is. That's what we do in the world.
Well, that's what the sociopaths do. They sell their lies.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
That's it. That's it. So we're selling truth here. That's the only combat that I've got. Dev, you? What can you say about it? Devin?
I agree with you guys. You know what I mean? I do. There should be a global platform or a nationwide platform. I'm not sure if that does exist. Once, obviously when the kids came into my care, I just stopped the fighting, and now, working with the mother to make sure that she has enough access and she's comfortable in those positions. She's never going to like it, but it is in the best interest of the child and the children. I have twins, right? It's in the best interest of the children that you just get along and make sure that they know that they're loved and cared for, and just to try and maintain a happy, healthy lifestyle for them, working together. You might have your indifferences, but you have to work together to try and achieve this common goal, because it's not your lives that you're speaking at. We're speaking about beautiful children that you want to send into this world as confident and as happy as possible. Nobody wants that generational curse to be handed down when you have another child that's going to potentially produce the same results that they had growing up.
Yeah, totally. That intergenerational trauma is really what we're trying to stop here now. Is we want to have our kids healthy and able to love and able to communicate and not be manipulative and be good parents themselves. And love is the answer. We need to communicate and share love.
And we need to have access to the children to show love. I mean, how do you love your children when you're alienated,
Yeah.
So any alienators watching this, whether you're watching the replay, I'd be happy if you can come on and give us your perspective. And I'm talking about women that actually feel that the child is a tool and that you can hold them back from their father against their will. So you're welcome to come onto the show. I love open debates. If I can get a father and mother on a show, I think that would be awesome. That's having this feud.
The problem
fighting over the children. If I can have, would be great.
Yeah, human beings all are justification machines. We believe that whatever we do is right.
Is the right thing.
So, we all believe that we're right, and it helps us get through the world. And so, women believe that they're doing the right thing, and they're going to court, and that's the right thing. They're told by society that you go to court and this is how you resolve the problem. And that men are bad and all this kind of stuff. And so it's all self-serving.
We only good to provide. We just as banks, money machines. Nah, not on my watch.
But thank you very much for all your voice. It's awesome to hear your story, and great platform that you're doing. And Dev, great job on your kids. Nice to hear you're supporting your ex-partner and also providing love to your children. It's that's the message we need to provide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. All we can do is try our best, right?
I just wanted to ask, Steve, Trevor, are you guys checking in from YouTube or Facebook? Because I'm live on both of those.
Facebook, it's 4:00 in the morning here.
Oh, my goodness.
Steve put me on to your show there and invited me to come on, and from Facebook.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much for inviting Trevor, Steve. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, guys. And that I think that's it for the show. So I didn't expect the show to be just one part as well, because I know it's something debatable. I know it's a brand new look at this, and that's how I just like to look at things from a whole different perspective. And thanks for thanks that I still have some sales skills left in me, I guess. So I got you guys to agree with me. Sales may just be the way that we win this thing. If you guys don't mind staying on for me, I'm just going to end off the show. I just want to share a couple of words with you. If you don't, or are you guys in a hurry?
Oh, we're here.
I'll let you guys go. I got to tend to these girls and stuff, but I wish you guys all the best in luck, and I really do appreciate this platform. I know this is gonna snowball. It's gonna get greater than what it is now, and it's just to see it in its developmental.
Yeah.
And hopefully
we're only 3 weeks in it. We're only 3 weeks in it, and they have got people from across the world.
I always encourage you to continue up the great work. You always have such great ideas, and to see this unfold, it's a beautiful thing. Thanks guys for listening and for sharing your experiences with me. It's been great, and I'll leave you guys all the best.
Nice to hear your voice, Devin.
See you guys. So just before we end off, I just wanted to ask if you guys are in the position to donate to this channel, to this cause. All we want to do is spread as much awareness as possible. These things do cost a bit of money, so anything will be appreciated, right? There's you can type donate in the comments if you're on Facebook. If you are on YouTube, there's a button in the description. And on that note, please take care of yourselves. Have an amazing weekend, and keep your head up. Things are going to change. Okay.
Awesome. You guys.
Look at spreading this site around and get some donations flowing in as well. You should have a look